Hello lovelies, in today's video I'm going to show you how to become more cooler and more interesting. And I'm very tired of people thinking that being cool means being standoffish, unattainably attractive and mysterious, which is not always the case. I have met and observed a lot of people, all kinds of people, and I can tell you this, the coolest and most interesting people, they are very likable. They know exactly how to become the kind of person that people like and gravitate towards. So by the time you're done watching this video, you will gain more social intelligence to know how to act in all kinds of situations, and you will also know what it takes to become a cooler and more interesting person. And people who are likable, they tend to do better in almost all areas of life compared to someone who's not. So what makes someone somebody that people love being around? Before I get into it, you might be thinking,
why should I care what other people think? Shouldn't I just focus on myself, my own happiness, and that anyone who doesn't like me, they can just f*** off?
You're limiting yourself to the potential that you can achieve just by learning a new skill. And because of that, you're probably not going to get very far in life, especially if you're struggling right now, because how is that doing for you so far? And if you're not open to things, chances are you're not very cool. Because does any of this describe you? Who is an uncool and uninteresting person? They are either boring or they're a hot mess who tries too hard. They stay in their lane. They're not curious. They don't engage with people. They only care about themselves. They're very selfish because of this. And they might even be abrasive because they don't know how to deal with a diversity of social situations and they don't know how to act. And because they only look out for themselves, everyone around them is disposable. Now, if that's you and someone sees you that way and they think that you're selfish, if there's ever a good opportunity that comes up or a job recommendation or invite to an event, chances are they're not going to think of you. So if you want to become the person that people do think of, that people really like, here are some tips that you can do. You should start by implementing some of these habits. What do I mean by this? First of all, you should have or find things that you enjoy very much, interests, hobbies, and passions that excite you, and knowledge that you know more about more than the average person. When people are passionate about something, their energy comes through in the way that they talk about it. Find something that you want to identify with and learn a lot about it. Maybe watch a lot of YouTube videos, read other people's opinions, read literature, but most of all, form your own opinions and your own perspectives. And take whatever resonates. And if it's a skill, spend a lot of time perfecting your craft and becoming better at it. And don't gatekeep your interests either. You need to be able to serve and give and show people that you are interested in this thing and that you know a lot about it. And it's going to come through in the form of vibes, in the way that it forms your identity and your style and the way that you bring it up in conversations. You can also speak on the fact that you are busy doing this thing all day long and you're pursuing the things that you love. Because cool people, they live a life that they love. And that to me is very attractive and very interesting. So identify a few things that you love and mix it up a little bit. For example, you can become the person who loves surfing and true crime and also cooking from scratch. And also in a band, like that makes you random and interesting because you're unpredictable. And most of all, you can teach someone something new, because if you teach someone something new, they will not forget you. In fact, that's one of my favorite job interview hacks. And one of the best ways to make a new friend, actually, show someone music that they love that would change their life, and they will never forget you. And if you play your cards right, you might even end up doing one of these things that you love as a career. But when you talk, do not ramble on and on and on and on. If you start monologuing and the other person starts turning glazed over or dead in the eyes, or they start saying things like, oh, really? Oh, okay. Oh, really? Like 3-5 times, that means you are boring that person. And that is not a good look. Give the other person an opportunity to speak. Be curious about their life. Ask them questions. When you talk to someone, make sure to make a lot of eye contact and have enthusiasm in the way that you speak and have energy and not be like a dead cat. If you're constantly mumbling and looking on the floor and not giving them any energy or any eye contact, that does not make you interesting. In fact, you will look and sound like a sick person, so do not do that. On top of your hobbies, also take some time to diversify your knowledge and the things that they know so that you're able to relate to all kinds of people with all kinds of experiences, which means you should travel more, you should try new cuisines, you should experience new things and more diverse experiences, and you should broaden your social circle. That means you should meet more diverse people, have more multicultural friends, go to more cultural events, go to a concert, go to the library, read all kinds of books. Watch shows that teach you something and deep dive into things that you're very interested in. The most boring people They don't travel very much because they don't want to. All of their friends look the same. They don't try new kinds of food. They're afraid of trying new things. And when you're able to talk to people about all kinds of things and you have your own interests and hobbies, you're going to be able to find common ground with a lot of people. And a lot of people that go through life with no interests, no hobbies, no passion, no diverse experiences. And that makes them like an NPC. They are a townie. They're not actually living life. Don't be that person. In fact, you want to be able to go into any situation and have at least one thing that you know about more than anybody else in that room. Whether it's the type of cuisines you know, the kind of music that you know, or even the people that you know. Go out more and do more things, because the more you do, the more you learn and the more experiences that you have, so you're able to talk about it. Also, do not be afraid to be yourself and be authentic, because the little quirks and the little things that people have, that's what makes them unique. People who are too perfect looking, or they're just really perfectionist and they're all buttoned up, they tend to be very insecure because they're afraid of not being perfect, and they're also very unrelatable. And it does come off as inauthentic, because in real life, it's really the little things, the idiosyncrasies that make someone attractive. Think about it. The coolest person in the room tends to be unapologetically themselves, and they're different from everyone else because they are who they are. And I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm not like other girls. No. You're actually your own person. And you can just tell when someone's not comfortable in your own skin, because they're always copying other people. They're speaking the language of the hip, and they're always copying new TikTok trends every week and trying on new identities all the time because they're afraid to be themselves. And they crave the validation and other people's approval. It's really try hard, wannabe energy. And people will be able to pick up on that. And nobody likes inauthentic people. When someone is really confident in themselves and they know exactly who they are, that is so attractive and so interesting. Like, wow, what makes you so confident? I want to learn from you. And people love being around someone like that and making people feel acknowledged too. Like when I used to work in an office, there will always be certain people who will always say good morning to you. They will say goodbye to you when you leave. And sometimes that makes your entire day because they make you feel seen. And they're so nice, like you remember them and how they make you feel, right? And the same goes for any social interaction. Acknowledge people's presence because it makes people feel good. Learn to give more. Give compliments because compliments are free. And it shows that you're interested in the other person. You should be more curious about things like, oh, where's that necklace from? Did you pick it out yourself? You have such great taste. Okay, where do you recommend that I shop? You have to realize that nobody cares about exactly what you're saying to them more than how you're making them feel. And good manners will always make a good first impression. They have a lot to do with how people feel around you because good manners make people feel at ease. And it makes you feel at ease as well. And when you're at ease, you're able to be comfortable and you're able to help other people feel comfortable around you. And when you're at ease, you're able to make more eye contact, you're able to show more enthusiasm, and you're also able to show your personality more and become your authentic self. The people who are most likable in life, they like themselves and they treat themselves with respect. And because of this, they're able to go into any room and talk to anyone and not be desperate for anyone's validation or approval. And they're not putting people on pedestals either. They're on their own pedestal. In fact, they're very comfortable talking to anybody because of that. And it's also all about the vibe that you give off. Are you reciprocating energy? Are you being inclusive of people? Are you acknowledging people? If you want some quick tips on becoming more confident, make sure you're taking your showers regularly, make sure that you have proper hygiene and that you're looking very good and well put together and that you don't look and feel like a hot mess. Make sure that you're calm on the inside and never get flustered. If you ever feel like you're getting flustered, just take a moment, take a step back. You can always give yourself a moment. And if you don't feel like you care enough about other people to learn about their lives or whatever, try to start doing that. Become more considerate of other people. Be curious about your friends' lives. Check in on your friends and tell them to text you when they get home safe because it shows them that you care about them. Be the one person who waits for someone when they stop and tie their shoelaces. Hold the door open for people. And make people feel important because people are dying to be acknowledged and they're dying to hear their name in conversation. It makes people feel really good about themselves. So when you meet someone new, make sure to remember their name and to just bring up their name every now and then. But if you have no interest, no hobbies, you're not curious at all about anything, then it will be very hard for you to be interesting because, well, you're just a boring person. And when you're confident and comfortable in yourself, you can take a little joke. Obviously, don't take disrespect because that is different. But don't be offended at like the smallest things and don't take things too personally. Because if you're comfortable with who you are and if you truly know yourself, you will never be offended at anything. Even if somebody says something that really bothers you, if they're purposely trying to be mean to you, just know that that's never you, okay? It's always them and the way that they're projecting themselves onto you. And it has nothing to do with actually who you are. So just brush it off and don't overthink it. And I talk about this in detail in my other video on how to stop taking things so personally. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can go watch the video. Okay, social intelligence. When you're talking, you want to learn how to become a better storyteller so that you're able to get your points across, your interests across, as well as your life experiences across better. And in order to do this, you also need to be able to be a good listener so that when someone talks to you, you're able to follow up with more questions and be able to be investigative about their life. And when you're able to meet anybody and meet all kinds of people, you're also going to be able to understand how to act in all kinds of social situations because you've encountered them. And that way you will learn to pick up social cues better. You have to go through it. Okay, even people who are not autistic can be really bad at reading social cues, and vice versa. I've met autistic people who are really good at being socially intelligent. They're able to read social situations and read social cues very well because social skills is a skill and it is something that you can learn, as well as emotional intelligence. That's definitely a muscle that you can train. And I'm saying this like I've met a lot of people, okay? And I can tell you that true emotional intelligence is very rare. You will not find a lot of people who are truly, truly socially intelligent. And people who are socially intelligent, they do these things, and it's all about the little things. For example, if you're in a group conversation and somebody new comes up to you or comes up to your group, make sure to include them. Either fill them in on what's happening or start a new conversation and ask them a question and make them feel like they're part of the group. Not a lot of people do this, and if you do this, you will make that person feel seen and important and included. And same thing goes, if the other person is looking away or they're feeling very uncomfortable around you, or they're getting glazed over, or they seem like they don't want to listen to you, stop whatever you're doing and try something else. Because if you're annoying someone, you're not going to become very likable to that person. And in order to figure out why you do certain things, you need to be able to build self-awareness. And the only way to build more self-awareness is to spend more time with yourself. That means you're able to be alone with yourself, with your own thoughts, and examine your life and your experiences and the things that you've gone through, and be able to go to the movies alone, go to a restaurant alone, and go to a concert alone, and reflect on your life and observe people around you as well. And that is how you build more social as well as self-awareness. Especially if you have the energy of like, you can't go anywhere without someone. Oh my God, I need to have someone with me to do this, or I'll feel so embarrassed. And let's be real, that is desperate energy. You cannot be afraid to be alone because when you die, you are alone. And when you're desperate and you're needy and you're clingy, that is not attractive energy. And when the neediness gets overboard, it can be very unlikable and it may repel people. Also have your own sense of style. That means you're not following trends too hard. You know exactly what you like, and you're able to be known for this because you're the only person doing what you're doing. Don't be an NPC because NPCs are predictable. Like they're pre-programmed to do certain things and they're doing the same things as everyone else and they don't have a unique perspective on anything. Do things that other people aren't doing, do things that you love, and cultivate a good taste in music, in culture, in the arts. That way you can recommend things to people so that other people can learn something new from you. And what did I say earlier? People will remember someone who teaches them new things. Whether it's you showing them a film that they didn't know that they love or a music that will change their life, they will never forget you. I hope that all these tips can be helpful to you and they help you become a more interesting and cooler person. And thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.